All right, welcome back to Don't Think, Just Charge. I'm Dave, he's Harvey, and today we're bringing you the latest patch update. It's 3.5.1. Let's get into it. Earlier this week, Tano went onto his familiar once-a-month live stream and also dropped 3.5.1, the hot fix patch for version 3.5, with a whole load of changes for something that was quite a touted to be a minor hot fix. There have been some quite substantial changes to the game, so we're just going to kind of go through those and let you know our thoughts on some of the biggest headlines. If you go into the announcements on the Discord, you can pull up the patch note page on the OPR website. We're just going to go through some of these now in headlines and then as to where they actually apply through the game. So
yeah, they also live in the top right of Army Forge as well. You can click the
top right. Oh yes, of course.
the little burger menu. They're there.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was there for the longest time and kept clicking off the patch notes and being like, how do I see those again? Where do I find them? Yeah.
Yeah, we can show people that as well when we get into it. But let's start here. The first thing, fix and base size errors, whatever. This next one is really, really big. Remove the over 9-inch requirements from defensive army-wide rules to be in line with offensive army-wide rules, and also, for a good thing overall, require less range checking, because these rules were on a model-by-model basis, so that could have been a bit of a pain. What this has meant is that things like, not Orc Marauders, things like dwarves, custodians, change, machine cults, all just got a lot better. Quickly, what Harvey was talking about is if you're in Army Forge, you click on the top right here and you click open release notes. This is where you can get that pop-up back. So if you think you've lost it, you haven't. Let's, though, go and jump into... let's just jump into change. Let's go straight for it. Straight for the throat here, change disciples. So this was a really massive change. This used to be better stealth when charged from over 9 inches, and when shot from over 9 inches, you get -1 to hit when being attacked. Now it's just flat. Enemies get -1 to hit rolls when attacking units with this rule.
Yeah, I think this comes from two places. One, there was quite a lot of confusion during the end of the beta about the whole, well, what counts as being 9 inches away? Is it like a direct line across the board? Is it the distance they charged? Is it every model in there? Is it the closest one? So it is a simplification, which is good for the game.
Yeah.
But I think it also comes from a place of not many of the offensive ones have conditions. I think it's literally just the Dow style one.
Yeah.
Whereas all the defensives had conditions. And the problem with defensive having conditions from a playstyle thing is it requires your opponents, like if your opponent charges, they're doing the measuring and they don't care about your defenses. They're not thinking about it. They're thinking about their stuff. So they could move their models. Then you go like, oh, wait, were you over 9 inches away? Because I have this thing. Whereas now it's a lot simpler. Now,
I mean, it's come from some really, from a holistic point of view, this is a really good change. That reason, offensive was so much stronger. If you consider Devout and Furious, they're just always on. Defensive ones didn't apply when the defensive unit was attacking, which was really, it just felt wrong to me. So from that perspective, really important, good change, bring them all in line. Now, you're about to go on to the next part, though.
Yeah, so there's two parts to this change. One is obviously now these are always on. -1 to hit always on is a very, very strong thing. All the factions that have that
strong.
Massive glow up. +1 to defense is really, really great for the dwarves now. They're basically permanently really tanky.
It's not against spells, though, for the dwarves.
Yeah, so it's basically shield wall they get nowadays.
Yeah.
-1 to AP on custodians, obviously really good as well. They're back to being the kings of the plot, the one-up save. The only problem we see with this, so obviously the boost previously was this. So he's basically turned what is the boost into the normal one, which means all the boosts have now had to change as well. So if you just want to pull up one of the boosts, oh yeah, you got it there.
Yeah.
So the boost is now what the old one was.
The 9-inch
current one
thing.
Yeah, so it now gives this kind of conditional. You can get a -2 if they meet this condition instead of the 1. Now for AP and for defense, sure, whatever. To hit rolls, when you start to get to -2 in hit rolls, you reach a really, really scary point in the game, right? Because like 4-up, it's this 5-up game, right? 5-up's your bog standard man. 4-up is where it starts to become elite. Your 4-ups are now hitting on 6-ups, right?
Yeah.
Which is crippling, right? That's really hard to overcome.
50% chance to hit down to 16% chance to hit.
Yeah. And on top of that, the reason why we've come on to change Disciples and change Brothers is they have an aura on their units. If you go on just like a warrior, I think, yeah. This versatile defense aura, which gives you the choice between a -1 to hit you, or is it -1 AP?
Or
is it?
-1 AP.
+1 defense. Yeah,
+1
defense.
Okay.
Yeah. And this has also been buffed, so it now happens at the start of the game as well. So this is basically an always-on ability that you toggle between the two options. Which, what this means is change can now have a -3 to hit, which if the 4 to 16% chance was insane, that's even more insane, right? Basically, every single unit in the game is completely crippled by this. There's basically no quality 2 attackers in the game. Quality 3 is really where it's like the greater demons are quality 2. But basically everything else is quality 3.
Avatars, right?
Those and like veterans and stuff, which can get to 2-up attack, and obviously Dow. But it's like every unit in the game is now attacking these guys like they're chaff, which is wild, right? To go from a conditional -1 to a guaranteed -2 at the very minimum, plus the actual conditional. So if you were meeting the condition before, you now got -3, whereas before you had -2. But -3 is like it's an insane level of minus. Like if you've ever played against -1 to hit, you know how frustrating that is. This is just literally nothing can kill this, right? Like it's so hard to move.
You're understating it, I think, almost. Like, obviously, we're not coming in for the clickbait OPR game broken. Like, we're not coming in at that level, but we can't understate that this is dramatically warping for so many units. Like, we're looking at this now in Change Disciples in Fantasy, but this exists. Whoops, I clicked on Fantasy again. This exists in Havoc Brothers, Change Disciples, in the Grimdark Future system, and it exists on the cultists. The chaff units themselves can start out at a -2 to hit. -3 to hit takes the second most elite units in the game, Custodians, Brothers, Prime Brothers, other Havoc Brothers, and takes their 3-up right the way down to a 6 to hit.
Yeah,
that is insane considering how much you pay for that much quality. For it to be taken down to a 6-up, that is incredible. Now, when you also then factor in when you've got things like, let's take Watch Brothers, right? Stop clicking on Fantasy. I don't know why I'm obsessed with it today. Watch Brothers, who have got this Watchborn thing, which is the veteran +1 AP or +1 to hit when shooting. These guys are hitting on a 2-up. If you can stack that -3, that's taking them all the way down to a 5-up. That is a monstrous hit from 2-up to 5-up. And then even within the bounds of normality, right? So it is an extra step to get change bound boost with it's getting it. So getting the buff out of a hero, the aura out of the hero, or out of a spell. And then over 9 inches, you've got these extra hoops to get through to hit this. That is, a lot to get it there. Ignore that. Let's just take the -2, which you get from the start of the game on these units, taking a watch thing. Like if you've got the veteran Assault Walker. Oh, you don't have it because it's watch. But you've got the watch combat Assault Walker who's hitting on 2s, hitting on 4s. What a huge impact that is. When you consider that the Carnivore Rex in Alien Hives is a quality 4 monster versus the Watch Combat Walker, that's a 300-point unit. This is a 400-point unit. That's a quarter of your points, roughly. That's real dirty maths, but it is such a substantial impact that you can just get on this 175-point unit.
Yeah.
That's mad. So
it's mega chaff levels. That's crazy.
That's really intense.
One of the things that came up, I mean, first of all, there's 2 things here. One, I don't think Versatile Defense Aura should have ever made its way out of beta in the context of change bound existing as well. Like it was bad enough when you had a guaranteed -1 plus a conditional -1. Like this already existed to an extent. Yeah. Now it's a guaranteed -2. There is literally nothing you can do about it, right? There's no counterplay to this. And there doesn't need to be counterplay to all defensive buffs, but you should never, there should never be more than a -1 to hit.
Yeah.
It's the -1 is so strong. I can see -2 being on some very specific units. I think like some of the machine cults have got like a 1 unit that's got it in
I was
covered.
gonna say, yeah,
Right, like
machine cults.
it's okay for things to have like unique things like that. That's their one special thing. But to spread this across a whole faction,
Yeah.
basically, right? Like all their mainline troops can get this buff. This is just insane. And just that -2 is enough to cripple basically every unit in fantasy, right? Like you can't hit these guys in fantasy anymore, right? You can't. You're on a 6-up only, basically for the whole of fantasy, because the whole of fantasy is on a 4-up, right? Like there are
Yeah.
literally armies that don't get better than that.
It's
So
also right that you've got that's a huge point. You get loads of armies that don't get better than that. You've got Eternal Wardens who do on expensive units and Havoc there, and Dwarves have a couple, but it's few and far between. It's not common. And then Versatile Defense Aura being a choose. So if you're against a 5-up army, you just go, cool, I'll have +1
the
defense
defense,
as well.
yeah,
That is absolutely mental. It is so distorting. And the thing, if you have a simple -1 to hit in isolation, I think that's kind of fine. Machine cults, I'm not looking at this and going, holy crap, they're going to ruin everything. But they do have the boost up to -2, which again, I'm not too happy with, but, let it be. Give you the other point. People hate playing against custodians.
Yeah.
Because they are defense 2 up and -1 to hit because of Guardian, right? That is double stacking an intense level of defense because you've got the rare 2-up defense and then you're nerfing AP by 1. Doubling down on these defensives is something that clearly aggravates people. And now you've tripled down on it. And I think that let alone the fact that making everything I've paid for suddenly crap it just feels bad because there's nothing I can do to change this. It seems like I'm guessing the vibe, and I'll give my own personal view on what cemented this in a moment. But I think that doubling down on defensives is something not healthy for the game. And that's why this is something we're spending so long talking about now. This is massive. This is really, really impactful.
I think to the risk of us repeating ourselves over and over again, I'm just going to say one final thing on this, and then you can take the floor, Dave, and then we can move on. The problem with having really, really strong defensive factions is not every faction is a really strong defensive faction, right? So what you end up is if the game is too aggressive and you need more defensive in the game, buffing specific factions isn't helping that. Right? It's just making those specific factions good. It's the same way as buffing offense, right? The factions that have like 6 bonus hits on 6s are significantly more potent and aggressive than the factions that don't right now. And it's the same for this other side of the coin, right? If I can get a -2 to hit on change, there is literally no reason to play any other faction if I want a defensive playstyle. It's so much better than the AP one. It's so much better than the defense one, right? Like, it's literally the perfect defensive buff. So, yeah, I don't think it does much for the balance of the game apart from makes it even more kind of wild, right? Like you have these extremes now that are so hard to deal with, right? Whereas -1 is as far as it goes. You have quite like a pool of those that can do that. Now it's like there's these few factions that can get all the way up to -3 if they want to. Well, why would I ever run the other ones?
Yeah. I think that's really important to consider kind of when OPR is now starting to venture into supporting events. That is something that's going to be really impactful to consider in terms of how are you going to be now impacting on the armies that people are bringing to these events, because some people will go, there's no point bringing machine cults because they're a fair army when I can bring an unfair army like Change. Some people might think that's Custodians or Dwarves because they can get access to these so easily. I know it's not quite like that in practice, but that is where it can divulge to. Think of it on the other side. When the Ratmen clans rework hit, and we came across Rat Ogre bodyguards that had Furious and access to Surge, double procking 6s, we were losing our head a bit. We were going, this is incredibly powerful because you could stack it with Blast, and it was quite a new thing. I remember when we were looking at UKG last year, and we were looking at the creator armies. There was one which let you stack exploding 6s and overload, which is 6s let you get 2 extra attacks, and each of those would let you get 6s as well. It's a creator army, so you didn't see that in live, but it was still something that we were going, this is like really unhealthily broken, powerful in application. It's not done from that point of view. So there's that aspect. There's also the aspect of going, how many of your friends will want to play with you? Like, OPR is friends first, right? That is the game. And if I was rocking up to a Friday night session and I brought all cultists and change brothers, all with this versatile defense aura, and my opponent, who's maybe trying to bring someone new into the game, and they've just brought their Vassal brothers because they're coming from Games Workshop, and they brought Space Marines, and oh yeah, my elite galaxy-wide dominating army hits you on fives. Like, there's the vibes aspect to this that I dislike. So it's really, really warping. It's really powerful. Will it stay? I hope not.
I don't think this will last very long. I mean, I hope it doesn't. And just to be clear as well, this is my shit, right? I would fucking love to run a -2 to hit, change all spellcasting lists, right? Like, that is right up my alley. So this isn't me going like, I don't want to play against this. It's shit. I'm saying it's the classic, right? Like, so often you bring your fun thing, no one else finds it fun, and you go like, well, what the fuck do I do now, right? Like, I made this cool list that I thought was fun. No one wants to play against me. Well, now I just feel bummed out. So it's better that this just doesn't exist, or exists in a healthier form. So fingers crossed for that. Like, stuff like versatile defense could go to conditional, right? Like, instead, like, if you're gonna have simple army wides, then make these rules more conditional instead. Don't do the way around. Get rid of the boosts even as a system. Like, I get why you've got them, but I just don't think you need boosts for the defensive army. Just think of something else.
Why do boosts have to stack the same effect?
Why do boosts have to exist?
I mean, I understand why they exist, right? Like, it's a way of like pushing it. You've got something and you push it. I don't know, you've never played Blood Bowl. You can go for it where you take extra actions on a turn and there's a chance you trip and fuck it. With this, it's just like you're pushing your thing a little bit more. I get why that's there. Why does it have to be pushing the same effect twice? Why can't it be, I have this effect, and because I've got this effect, I get something else? Like, there are other ways of making the boost relevant and impactful rather than giving you -3 possibilities, which is just insane. -1 is already crippling. How many times have we played with -1 to hit, evasive, and just gone, holy crap, that's good?
Oh, yeah. I mean, aircraft, right? Aircraft.
Right. What a way of describing it.
Yeah. All right, should we move on?
Yeah, let's move on. We've now been on our soapbox about this one. Some defensive army-wide boosts will change to be stronger but more conditional. We've spoken about that already. Some offensive army-wide boosts would change to be more conditional. That's why we had Orcs open a moment ago, because we were just observing that the Furious boost, which was previously just expanded, 6s became 5s and 6s, is now you get 5s and 6s when shooting or charging over 9 inches away. This change is fine. Bearing in mind that Devout in Blessed Sisters in 3.4 was over 9 inches to get their exploding
under 12.
6s.
Under 12.
Under 12, sorry, yes. It changed to be over 9s to be the modern Relentless. Modern Relentless is over 9s for that one.
Yeah.
Over 9 inches for 6s, yeah.
Yeah, and there's proximity surge is what the old one is now called. Elven Jesters have it with their Bolo guys. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a whatever change. I think the boosts are overcosted offensively anyway. You often see like 60 points or something for them, and I think that's just too much compared to other things you can get. So I don't think it's going to make a huge difference to the game, really. I think it kind of brings in this big question mark about like a Furious Oreo would cost 20 points because it costs 20 points in Alien Hives. This one costs 40 points, and it's just like having Furious, kind of. Not really sure where all the extra cost comes from, and it's conditional. And
it's conditional.
People and immediately, right? We've already seen people going like, "Wait, why is my Blessed Sisters conditional over 9 inches?" Like we've always been the under 12 inches getting your face faction. Why all of a sudden is my boost like this? Well, I mean, it's a good question. Why is it? Right? It's because it's this kind of like paint everything with the same color of beige thing going on. I honestly think boosts are not interesting enough, and I'd rather see interesting effects in that slot instead. Unique, interesting things that the faction can do instead of just like take the thing you've got and double it. It doesn't engage me at all. It's either because it's just a flat buff, it's just boring, right? It doesn't change the way you play the game. It's like you're just doing that thing even better. So yeah. Whatever. Yeah.
At some point we'll come to you with a video of what crazy things would we do with OPR? But
yeah.
this is not that video. This is a bit of a highlights of 3.5.1. So yeah, offensive army-wide rules were a bit more conditional. There's something about clarifying rules that happen when this model attacks happen when it's its turn. This is your devour on Raptor Riders sort of thing.
Yeah, this is just anti-rules loyal stuff. That's fine.
Yeah, rules that happen in shooting and melee now only apply once per round. So the one that we both skipped to was in fantasy, well, a little bit in sci-fi. You've got the Dark Elf Raiders. In fantasy, you've got harassing. So this is no longer just when it attacks, it moves 3 inches, which would apply when it's charged and strikes back. It's just once per round. So again, it can be when charged and striking back. Yeah. But now it's not do it and then attack again.
Yeah, the big thing about this is actually quite a big nerf to specifically Dark Elves. I think for most people it's not really. But yeah, because they also have retreating strikes built in, which is whenever they use their harassing, they would also get to do a bunch of free wounds to things. So now this is only once per round. It does make a huge difference to things like witches and stuff that are using this, but it makes a big difference to stuff like Hydras, who could be charged multiple times per round and survive multiple charges, especially with regen and stuff like that. We'll come to it in a second, but Retreating Strike also took a points nerf because it's an automatic wounds thing. So yeah, Dark Elves just kind of like been taken down a notch here. I don't think they're crazy super powerful. I think I played one game with them and I really enjoyed playing them. I don't think this makes a huge difference to the play style. Like, it's a little bit less damage, it's a little bit more expensive, but you're probably still buying into it because it's their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, kind of a weird change, really. I'm not sure what else that affects. Things that happen after shooting or melee. I can't really think of.
I mean, hiss and run.
Yeah.
Who has hiss and run shooter?
Well, yeah, hit and run shooter. You can never shoot more than once, so this literally only applies to melee stuff. I think maybe that's the reason this is in now, because until now there wasn't really many that triggered it. You could check the rules text right after type in after being in melee in the left box.
I could. This is Harvey's website, by the way, harvey.dev/OPR, a really good resource for you if you want to quickly look up rules. So we've got hiss and run fighter and hiss and run. Oh, hiss and run shooter apparently doesn't exist.
Well, it's different text, right? It might not say after being in. It'll say after shooting or whatever.
If I do hit and run shooter, here we go. It is once per round. Once per round after shooting. Yeah, there you go. You are right. But that's it. So it's going to affect these sorts of things.
I don't think this change really super matters. It's a nerf just to Dark Elves in fantasy, and that's it. I think it was more for a simplification thing, and Dark Elves got accidentally hit by it, so whatever.
Yeah. Lovely. So then the next thing for us to have a look at is tweaked costs. We've got tweaked costs of offensive rules with over 9 inches shooting, tweaked costs of automatic wounds and similar rules, tweaked costs of limited once per game rules, aircraft versatile rules, and marking. So it's just a whole load of points tweaks. I think they are all nerfs.
Yeah, I think tweaked here is used as a euphemism, because I'm pretty sure everything that's tweaked here is nerfed. Yeah, I haven't verified the ones in the middle, but certainly mind control and dangerous terrain debuff, that's a nerf. Tough scaling got changed. We'll talk about that in a second. Automatic wounds got nerfed. Over 9 inches, relentless and stuff. I presume that's nerfed. I'd be surprised if it wasn't, because I don't think it was weak. But aircraft definitely got nerfed.
Well, hold on. Tweak cost of offensive rules with over 9 inches shooting requirement. There are 2. There's relentless and there's targeting visor. Yeah. I'd be surprised if that wasn't targeting visor. We can check. No, I can't. Can I check? I could check by just comparing the cost of old grunts. We'll do this live.
Yeah.
I've got a screen that I'm not sharing here. What am I looking for? Security grunts.
Yeah, they're 105 at the moment in live.
They were 100. Okay, so security grunts were 100 points before 3.5.1.
So there's that one. Tweaked is used to mean nerf here.
So
yeah, just a bunch of points cost nerfs. These are what they are, really. I think oftentimes with this kind of stuff, you build the best list you can with the points available to you. It kind of sucks to see your list go from 2,000 to 2,100. But it's kind of, 2,150 for me, but yeah. The big ones here, so the once per game thing, that actually hits the whole of Human Inquisition, because they're army.
Yeah, RIP. Well, not RIP, but...
I think they were kind of already dead. It's really hard to build a list of them. I don't think they've got the right units, but this doesn't help, certainly. So, yeah, is what it is, really. Just a bunch of nerfs.
Just a bunch of nerfs. The thing I think is really quite sad about that is limited weapons. We like them. They're generally quite effective. And now, for example, werewolves in Wolf Brothers, their backpack GLs have gone up by 5 points per model. I think it's 5 points per model. Don't quote me on that.
That'd be brutal if it was. Yeah, that's literally twice the cost.
It's quite substantial. Substantive? I don't know. I don't do me no speaking English good. It's impactful. And so I think that's something that's just going to be a little bit of a shame. I was rarely taking some of the automatic wounds things, so I think it's just a bit of a nerf to the people who are bringing those cool ones. Lizards. Why are we nerfing lizards? Rule of cool. Lizards should not be nerfed. You know, that's really where my brain goes to.
Yeah, interesting enough, the dangerous terrain debuff isn't classed as an automatic wound rule, despite it being an automatic wound rule. It did get nerfed. It's called out specifically there. Yeah, by 10 points. We've been talking about that in the Discord today as well, about dangerous terrain, spamming and stuff. If you want to join that conversation, hop into the Discord. But yeah, then we've got this tough scaling one. So the tough scaling one is basically landed in the middle of where it was before. So we had 3.4 and then we had 3.5, and this is exactly in the middle in terms of scaling. Once again, I mean, we said it in the video the other day, I don't think this change needed to happen. I think the game was in a healthy enough place with where tough 12 was. Do you mean
the initial change to tough?
Yeah, sorry. I think 3.4 was fine, basically. I don't know why we buffed tough 12. I don't think we really needed it. This mid-ground is a mid-ground, and sure, they get slightly less points off now, which is fine. I probably still think it's still a mistake, right?
Yeah, it's. I was really excited when it happens because I love a Chonko army. And I think if you last played in 3.4 and you skipped 3.5.0 and came straight to 3.5.1 and you went, hey, all my tough dudes have gotten a little bit cheaper. You're still like quids in winning. You're quite happy about that. I do think that this is, I don't know, this has hit a subtle point. I think you and I were talking, we've been talking quite intensely about how big the tough points buff was, how massive it really felt for that X percent, 10% decrease in cost. It wasn't quite 10%. Now I feel like it's just fine. Like I'm not rushing to jam a load of tough 12s into my armies at the moment.
It feels a bit like, when people say that companies like do something really awful and then they pull back halfway because then people care less. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh no, it's fine. He's fixed it now. Well, actually, no, put it back to 3.4. What? Who asked for a tough 12 buff? Right? Like, what's that about? Like I said in the video the other day, God knows what's happening in 3K at the moment, right? Okay, because there's so many high tough things in there that are a lot cheaper now. Yeah. So interesting enough. Another thing that's not mentioned here.
I was going to come on to it. The last thing that we really want to talk about.
There's something that's not mentioned. Literally not mentioned when it should be. Caster saw a nerf.
Oh, yeah.
20 points across the board. Basically, every single casting list got more expensive, and it's not in this list.
That is strange.
Yeah, I only just realised it then. Are we classing that as a once per game rule? I don't know. Casting saw an enormous increase in points.
How aggressively you use it.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. And how aggressive your opponent is towards your casters. If you're playing it with Ratmen with their fucking snipers, then it is a once per game list. But yeah, so 20 points or so across the board for spellcasting. Spellcasting is still literally one of the most broken mechanics in the game. So I said this before, it's back to where it used to be, is the truth. Like it was 70 points before on a lot of lists.
You mean not the strength?
The cost, yeah. So, I mean, honestly, casting is the best rule in the game by far. So you'll buy it for 50 points, you'll buy it for 70 points. It's fundamentally how it works is what makes it powerful. The ability to target multiple units per turn, take away two activations in one activation is just too strong. It will always be too strong in this kind of game. It's literally no idea how he fixes that, but yeah.
Well, I think that's exactly the thing to take away, is generic unit takes X hits. Two units take 4 hits. 2 units taking 4 hits with AP2 is one of the best spells in the game. And that, I can't remember if that's a big change or not from 3.4. I don't know really if it is or isn't, but that's still, well, because was it 6 hits on 2 units instead?
Yeah.
In my mind. Yeah, is that the level 3 spell now? 4 hits AP2? on 2 units, really impactful. Still incredibly impactful. You've taken 2 hits away from it and it still matters a huge amount. Just 2 units taking 4 hits, really massive. 1 unit taking 6 hits, AP2 is still in the game. All of these things are so broadly applicable. If you wanted to bring caster more in line with the other rules in the game and stop it from being such an egregious outlier, change the way that spells work. Just get rid of these blanket damage spells. You can have the sniper spells, have specific use ones, but have it apply to what you're doing.
My solution to the problem is just a synapse tyrant and everything, right? Take it away from heroes. Make mages their own units that you can't embed in units, right? All of a sudden, spellcasting is their only damage output. They don't have shooting. They have like a fucking CCW1, right? Like, that's how you fix this problem, right? You make it so casters are their own thing, right? And like, just give them they can be tough 3 like artillery, right? Yeah. They can be this really frail thing that you put up the board. They can't be embedded anything. They can cast on their own. Sure, right?
How long have you been sitting on that idea? I love that idea. That's great. That's a fucking brilliant idea. Completely.
That solves the problem, right? And it might. Some people might be like, "Oh, but I want my high elf on a dragon who can also cast spells." Well, tough shit. I don't know.
Well, then this is where you want to explore things like that dangerous terrain effect that we've got. So this is kind of it's not a great secret. Come into our Discord. It's open. Come and have a look at the dangerous terrain conversation. I started thinking dangerous terrain debuff was absolutely shite, but I've had some really good analogies put to me by the community. Thumbs up to all of you in that chat today, about talking about how that is a guaranteed spell, effectively, that doesn't diminish when it's applied to tough X creatures. And if something, for example, is tough 12, def 2 up, you're effectively hitting it with a 12 hit spell. And that's really, really powerful when you don't have to roll a dice to get it. And that's a really good analogy for it. And why can't you have your casters be limited if it's going to be a hero on a dragon, and then versatile if it's going to be something vulnerable? And I like the theme. I like the idea of the geckos, right? We were talking about geckos earlier today, from a list building perspective, of the spell conduit being useful and decent, just having a singleton running around being the conduit of your buffs. Why can't that singleton running around your army be the one doing the buffs in that sense? That's a really fucking great idea, Harvey. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know how it works for everything in the game. Obviously, like frog mages, they kind of want to be a leader and also a caster, right? Like, would you have a frog mage caster unit that's like, either way? I think that's the solution to the problem. Or remove every single offensive game from the game, which I don't think is fair.
Every game from the spell, every spell from the game.
Remove the game from all the spells.
The power in caster lies in the fact that you've got these blanket damage spells that are just hypercharged guns. 9 hits at 12 inches, right? On a 4 up that you're paying 80 points for. Fucking snap it off. Who has a 9 shotgun? Fuck nobody. Who isn't already tough 9? Don't come at me. But it's that sort of shit, right? It's just so warping for that reason. And it would be fine if you took all those away, I think. It'd be great, I think, if you applied your idea there to it. And then you could do other things with frog mages, like give them multitude of versatile dangerous terrain debuffs, so they have one of 2 modes that they can choose every turn. Sweet. And then you don't have the 1d6 dice roll on your heroes who you don't want to be flubbing your spells every turn.
Yeah. Or just
good idea. I like running with that.
Or just do the gun thing where you just say, like, you can only affect 1 unit, right?
Yeah.
Like, like the gun thing is completely arbitrary. No one complains about that, right? It's like you can just shoot one other guy with what, and it has to be a different weapon profile for some fucking reason, as if your guys can't be told, you over there, right? So yeah, you can just have arbitrary rules to solve this problem as well. But I think either way, this is not really a caster discussion. 20 points more is fine. Yeah, it's the big change, though.
You're still paying it. The big change. Drum roll, please. And let's go to infected colonies, because it's the first one, I think, where it comes up. Heroes can now take no retreat alongside their other fucking auras. Why? Why is this back? Why? I know why it's back. It's back because people like their units crumbling to dust for some reason. Yeah. It's so incredibly that has taken it from being a meaningful, impactful decision in your quasi undead armies, robot legions. Let's actually talk about them a little bit. It's taken it from being a meaningful decision, this or that. You can have reanimation aura or no retreat aura. And no retreat aura, make no mistake, is incredibly powerful, and it was worthy of being up here. Now you can stack it.
I mean, I think on its own, you never take it. I think it's straight up a bad thing, right? Because
I mean, I'm getting frustrated, but you're clearly right about this because that's the feedback that must have been given.
Yeah. Like there was when it was an aura at the top, there was literally no reason to take it because you're paying the price for a hero, you're paying the price for no retreat, right? You're paying like 80 points for no retreat on a unit, right? And at that point, that's too expensive because there's literally no fucking reason. Because your elite units, you don't want to have no retreat, right? Because they're paying all this extra cost to lose free wounds, right? When you sometimes you would prefer them to be stunned, right? Genuinely, right? And your chaff units, you've got no fucking point running the chaff unit now because you've got nothing in it to defend. It's just a chaff unit with no retreat. Like the Lord doesn't have caster, the Lord doesn't give them some sort of special buff. So it didn't really make sense in the aura slot. I really don't think so. I think here it's kind of fine because there is a limit to the number of heroes you can have, and it is still expensive to do both things. You end up spending like 100 and something points on a Lord to get all this stuff going. But like you said, it's very strong. Some factions really take advantage of this, right? Like we built a couple of vampiric undead lists.
Yeah.
Because any faction that had zombies in it that got fearless this patch, they now have these like they can make these really, really hard to move blobs. So like, Stitch zombies, they've already got fearless. They can get a banner, which I think is brand new. I don't remember getting banner before. So they're doing a 4-up into a 4-up morale-wise. You can stick a caster inside those. That's well defended. You can now do the same with the Vampire Masters with their no retreat and their caster. You stick them in a unit of drained soldiers, and you get this like unholy blob of spellcasters and bodies that are just really, really hard to shift. And then the spell list basically carries you for damage. It's got big fat deadly spell, and it's got 4 hits AP2, and it's got 3 hits with Sever, which is Sever the one on the extra AP
2 to 4 against AP.
So you've got like a bunch of different damage spells that you can use there, and you can do teleporting and mind controlling and curse undead buff and all sorts of stuff, right? So this does open up the old play style of casters embedded in no retreat units, which to be honest, like I think with it being less spread across an army, it is less problematic because before the big problem you had was every single unit had it. So you were inevitably going to end up in a situation where their units had like one guy left, but it was every unit was doing that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas at least now it's only going to be 3 or 4 at most. And that's much more manageable. So I do want to see it in a game. But I am still very scared of that Vampiric Undead list.
Yeah, that Vampiric Undead list is good.
Obviously, like Ghost
having -1 to hit, and this is like really scary. Their spell list took a huge nerf. It lost that 6 hits AP2, thank God. But 6 hits at 18 range is still good in fantasy. Ossified Undead is the one army. I think they only have one guy who gets this, or is it? One, not on the Bone Master. It's on the Great Stalker and the Herald of Death, right? Why isn't it on the Bone Master? I'm so confused. This is an army that you really could pump so much into.
For vampires as well, why is it not on the necromancers?
The ghoul.
That also seems kind of weird, right?
The skeleton.
I think it just got moved, right? If it was an aura they could have got, it's been moved down. And if it wasn't one they could get, then it's not been moved down.
It's not on the Drained Leader, I think, because this guy's meant to be alive. The Drained are an alive subfaction of the vampires.
He's a necromancer, right?
Just because he's a necromancer doesn't mean he has to be dead.
No, but the no retreaty thing, right, suggests it's like fucking necrotic and shit. That's what I got. Either way,
that's the caliber of our conversation about the lore of this. Like, we're not qualified to have that conversation.
We did 2 lore videos and we were done. All right.
Did I see? Yeah, this was no. Sorry, it wasn't Ossified. It was Mummified Undead. Why doesn't the Skeleton Leader have it? He's literally a fucking skeleton.
It must have been because they were in the auras and they've been moved down. But yeah, either way, this is a really interesting change for the shape of the game. I think it makes more sense in that slot. I'm still not sure if it's right in that slot or not. I don't know how you handle the no retreat problem. I really don't. I don't want it to go from the game. But I also think, is this going to be enough? I don't know. We're going to have to play it and see if it's right or not. But no retreat's kind of one of those things where it's like, if you've got a good reason to have it, then it's almost priceless, right? So like if you've got a caster that needs protecting, you'd pay 50 points for no retreat to go on top of that to give yourself that unmoving caster. And I think that's the only combo really, actually. Like,
Yeah, I was going to
there's
say, it
that,
really is caster and
yeah,
the reanimation thing.
and the new reanimation one, which didn't exist before. So obviously, when you take no retreat damage, you can't regenerate it; it can't be ignored. But reanimation isn't ignoring it; it's just like after the fact regenerating it. So you kind of get these funky stacks now, where you can get a robot lord, stick them in a unit of swarms, make the whole thing no retreat, and then also give it reanimation aura, and it just kind of like pops back up instead of resisting it, which is obviously pretty decent. I don't know how good that's actually going to be, but it is kind of funny.
Also, the fact that you get, in terms of output, when you tick over a tough 3 units, so say you've got the hero and 2 dudes left, and it's on 3 toughness and 2 toughness, and you roll 2 5-ups, you get a whole base back. And when you're getting a whole base back of, if you're doing it, Annihilators, which are a Q3 4 attack monster, that's really good. Reanimation's pretty damn good there. So there's one example of it just being really strong when this unit's going to be very, very resilient. And the thing that matters the most is on things like the swarms, the chaff, because those are the things that you want grinding out the objectives at the end of the game. Though that's the reason it's so good. It's when you're in those end of game objective modes and you've got one pesky fucking model running around that you have to dedicate an entire activation to clear out. Otherwise, it neutralizes your Titan Lord.
Yeah. I think also reanimation versus regeneration, obviously there's pros and cons of each. Regeneration happens at the time, so you're more likely to keep models ready for further fighting. Reanimation's got a slight advantage in that it happens, it can kind of like reduce the effects of blast, which is kind of interesting.
That is interesting.
Also, reanimation, you stand the chance of getting multiple rolls on it, because if you roll it once, then it's the same as regeneration. But if you turn 1, lose half your unit, and then you get 3 rolls to regenerate them, that's obviously much better than having the regeneration in the first place. So it is a trade-off. I do think I prefer reanimation aura. It's weird though, because it's worse for morale, because you lose the whole unit, you roll your morale, and then maybe you get a chance to activate them and do it again. But yeah, it's an interesting enough mechanic, and I kind of like the little no retreat combo with it. I think that's kind of funny. Interesting where it goes, right? Like,
I think that's kind of cute. That's an example of it being like good and fun, but it's things like the Vampiric Undead and to a lesser extent the Ghostly Undead, where you're stacking these defensive defensive army-wide buffs with an extra defensive army-wide buff. You can now stack in fearless things into the Vampiric Undead, and then if you have a good caster list, you're just back in this hellish thing to deal with. It is so difficult to deal with, and that's where my frustration comes from, of knowing, playing against you and your ghosts and just knowing you can't fucking deal with it. It's so impossibly hard to deal with. And again, it's that aspect of my own personal frustration historically, but also from a wider player base, that is frustrating with very little way of interacting with it. But the way of interacting with it is sniping it.
It does come back to a caster problem, though, right? Casting is the problem. The problem with caster spam is so great because I can get all the value from my caster without activating it, because I can just borrow its tokens, right? It exists there. I'm not doing anything with it. It's just playing the objectives. You need to take an activation to kill it, but I'm just borrowing tokens from it. I'm blowing things up on my first activation of the turn. You can't counter what that's doing. You're basically committing resources to something that's already activated, but it hasn't activated. So it's like a really weird mechanic.
You can do it while shaken. You can contribute tokens while shaken.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the problem is caster. I think no retreat wouldn't be an issue if there wasn't a way of, if you couldn't bury a really powerful caster in it. But
yeah, I agree with that. It would be much less egregious if all of those heroes that had it didn't have caster.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Our next competitive event, we're bringing caster stacks. It's not changed from 3.4. We still think it's really great. I know that this might be a don't think just charge take. I don't really ever hear other YouTube channels say spam the overwhelming shit out of casters. But if it is our thing, then I'm going to keep saying it because I really do believe it, right? If you want to succeed in your games, bring 5 casters. Right? Just bring as many as you can. But yeah, I think is that it for the patch?
I think that's it for the patch.
Yeah.
This does come across as quite a negative video, and I apologise for that one. That's not usually the shtick we try and take here. I don't think just charge. But these are the points of this patch that have really grabbed our attention, because they are things that are taking something that was in quite a well-rounded state. I think 3.5.0 was pretty solid. I had very few complaints about it overall. And And then it's just kind of taken a couple of points and really stuck them out into that 5% bracket at either end. And it's just kind of going, oh, we were in a good spot. These are really substantial changes. My biggest one is -3 to hit. -2 to hit shouldn't be in the game. -3 to hit. What the hell is going on there?
Yeah, I think
that's it.
Absolutely.
I think that's
also just this is a 0.1 patch. I don't expect to wake up and find all my army lists costing. I don't expect to find any of my army lists costing 150 points more. Right, like that's like being in the beta all over again, right? Every morning you wake up, you're like, oh, all my lists are broken. I better rebuild them, and then I'll do my testing and hope he doesn't patch in the meantime. So yeah, it seems like quite a lot of changes for that. And also, I'm not sure I've seen any feedback for this stuff. I mean, I'm not hanging around all the Discords all the time, looking at all the channels and stuff. But at least in the balance feedback, it's been really quiet since 3.5. And there's things in here that I just don't believe that, like the toughness thing. I don't think anyone was clamoring for that, as far as I know.
And the toughness thing. So I understood why it was buffed in the first place, because people were saying that tough 3 units just feel shit compared to their other counterparts of 10 tough 1 dudes, and I get that. I do get that. That's why I thought that the buff was like kind of fine. I was excited for it for my own selfish reasons, but I thought it was fine overall. Don't see why it's being nerfed, but overall, again, it's kind of fine. But I just saw very little to nothing about it.
Yeah, so I think some of this is probably like a late beta realization for him, right? Like I think he's just had a couple of weeks to stare at it now and gone like, oh, I didn't quite land where I wanted to. I'm going to use this hotfix to change that. Hopefully we don't see much more changes like this in the future. I mean, obviously we'd like to see some of this stuff rolled back. But yes, it'll be what it will be. If -3 to hit stays in it, then fucking UKGE 2027 or 2026 or whatever it is, -3 to hit spellcasters everywhere. Like, why the fuck not?
Yeah, that. I think my big headline is get rid of multiple -1 to hits. But then I think the other things that we're kind of talking about are wider game design points that is just like down to our preference and ways that we'd like to see the game change. But overall, 3.5 is pretty good place to be.
Yes, fun.
We're gonna round it out. We played an event last weekend, which will be our next video. I think the plan is you're guessing this video midweek. Hello, midweek. Don't think just charges.
Hey, midweek listeners.
Let's go. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please get down in the comments, tell us what you think, give us the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, join our Discord. Can't remember what else I'm supposed to say there. All that sort of stuff. And if you like what you see, come back later on this week on the weekend, where in our next video we will be going over the event that we've just been to, which was Age of Fantasy, and giving you our thoughts on where Age of Fantasy is in OPR in 3.5. For now,
if you like long form content, this is supposed to be a 15-minute video, and that's how all our videos go. So this is the place for it.
Yep. Oh god, yeah, I've just looked at the timer and it's 48 minutes. I need to refill my water because we're now going to record that fantasy video. Lovely. Yes, we will. For you, it'll be a few days. For us, we'll speak to you in a few minutes. Should I go change my clothes, just to make it seem like we're doing it at a different time? Thanks very much, everyone. Bye. I'm Dave. He's Harvey. All that sort of stuff.